as demand for global connectivity rises, the low Earth orbit satellite broadband is emerging as a very powerful option to bridge the digital divide.
There are two Americas. There's the people who have tried high-speed, low-latency broadband, and there's the people who haven't. We don't want the trip to get a license with the FCC to be a multi-year odyssey. We're all for multi-year odysseys throughout interplanetary, but we don't want your trip to the FCC to be a multi-year odyssey to just get a license. We went from having to think about the internet every day with pretty spotty service, let's put it that way, to just never having to think about it again.
There is so much innovation, there's so much investment, so many cool new things coming online in the satellite market and space overall, that it's really amazing to think about what the communications landscape will be like a couple years from now.
Satellites are just the fastest way to connect the unconnected.
LEO has some very favorable latency characteristics for providing broadband communications. So good throughput, quick back up and down from Earth to the satellite.
So with LEO, Starlink, you just picture thousands of satellites just orbiting the Earth constantly. With LEO, your lifespan is going to be maybe 3 to 5 years for a satellite before it deorbits into the atmosphere. There are some projections that there will be more than 90,000 satellites by 2030, which is only 5 years.
The challenge of LEOs is that these new satellite constellations now put the sources of RFI up in the sky over our radio telescopes, and potentially even in the most sensitive part of our radio telescope. NRAO has been hard at work on some possible solutions, and we've developed something called operational data sharing. And the way this works is that in real time, our telescopes, starting with the Very Large Array, now share exactly the pointing and the frequency and the bandwidth that they are utilizing at any given time. We are starting this work, which was piloted with a National Science Foundation grant, and we've been working with our partner SpaceX in these early experiments. They've developed a system where when they know where we are pointed in the sky, they can actually take maneuvers that actually allow us not to be too grimly affected.
Far too often I hear people talk about we have these LEO markets or we have these LEO services. I said, no, actually, it's a very dynamic component of a very dynamic system where information is shared and processed, sent, received. LEO is simply part of that. And then how it's a part of that is going to change a lot over time. These markets are very dynamic. They're going to keep changing. The economics are going to keep changing. That Mr. Musk wants to try one model, good for him. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. But we certainly want to have all the tests that people are willing to have.
LEO broadband is not just Starlink. OneWeb also operational, and Amazon Kuiper and Intelsat are also launching this year. But definitely the marketplace is going to become more competitive. I would hope that leads to benefits for consumers.